Look at the screen right now. If you think the chaos in the world is just bad luck or a series of random political mistakes, you are dangerously mistaken. You are watching a script that was written centuries ago, and we have just reached the final, most violent chapter. Most people are focused on the headlines, the protests, and the talking points, but they are missing the only signal that actually matters: the sound of a 2,000-year-old financial system hitting the pavement. My name is John A.G., and today we aren't just talking about money. We are talking about the end of an era. We are talking about the moment when the mask of the global empire finally slips, revealing a predator that is no longer content with trade, but has moved into the stage of outright conquest. We have officially crossed the threshold into the terminal phase of the dollar. And if you aren't holding the real assets they are currently raiding sovereign nations to find, you are essentially standing on the deck of the Titanic arguing about the price of the lounge chairs. For the last 50 years, the United States has operated on a privilege that defies the laws of physics and history. They discovered the ultimate alchemy, the ability to print green strips of paper for pennies and trade them for the lifeblood of other nations. They printed paper and got German engineering. They printed paper and got Saudi oil. They printed paper and got the hard labor of billions across the globe. It was the greatest magic trick ever performed on the world stage. But every magician eventually runs out of smoke and mirrors. The world has stopped believing in the trick. The debt has ballooned to a staggering $38.5 trillion, a number so large that the interest alone is now eating the very heart of the country's tax revenue. When a government reaches the point where it is borrowing money just to pay the interest on the money it borrowed last week, you aren't looking at a superpower anymore. You are looking at a Ponzi scheme in its final seconds. And when the people running that scheme realize the new money has stopped flowing, they don't apologize. They don't cut spending. They go on the hunt. This brings us to the raid on Venezuela on January 3rd. The mainstream media wants you to believe this was a mission for democracy, a surgical strike to remove a dictator. But if you believe that, you haven't been paying attention to how empires actually behave when they go bankrupt. They didn't send special forces for a photo op. They went in for the collateral. Venezuela sits on $17.3 trillion worth of proven oil reserves. The United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve is effectively empty. The math is simple, and it is brutal. When your credit card is maxed out and the world won't take your IOUs, you stop being a merchant and you start being a pirate. This is stage 4 of the empire collapse cycle, desperate resource acquisition. It is the moment when a dying hegemon realizes that its only remaining asset is its military, and it decides to use that hammer to smash every piggy bank it can find. But here is the part that should keep you awake at night. This isn't just about oil. Oil is what they need to move the machines, but silver is what they need to make the machines think. You cannot fly an F-35, you cannot guide a Tomahawk missile, and you cannot run the AI systems that now manage modern warfare without silver. It is the most conductive element in the known universe, and unlike oil, the United States has zero strategic reserves of it. They sold it all. They thought the paper markets would always provide. But now, as the BRICS nations close their borders and China tightens its grip on exports, the empire has realized it is strategically naked. They are running out of the very metal required to maintain their dominance. If they are willing to risk World War III to seize oil in South America, what do you think they will do when they realize they can't build a single satellite or high-tech weapon because the silver vaults are empty? They won't just ask you to sell your coins. They will rewrite the rules of the game overnight. We are moving from a free market into a resource war. In this environment, paper assets, your stocks, your bonds, your digital currency, are nothing more than claims on a government that is currently resorting to international theft to pay its bills. You need to hold what they are chasing. You need to hold the assets that have no counterparty risk and no off switch. Because history isn't just a collection of dates, it is a repetitive cycle of human greed and monetary corruption. Whether it's the Roman denarius being diluted with copper or the US dollar being diluted with quantitative easing, the end result is always a mirror image. The savings of the middle class are vaporized, the elite flee to hard assets, and the majority is left holding a bag of worthless paper. Look at the data from just 5 days ago. 142,000 millionaires are currently in the process of leaving the West. These are the people who have private lines to the central banks. They aren't waiting for the official announcement. They are trading their paper for farmland in South America, for bunkers in New Zealand, and for physical gold and silver. They are exiting the jurisdiction of the dollar because they know that when stage 5 hits, the stage of internal panic, the gates will be locked. Capital controls will be implemented. Your bank account will become a prison. The rich are getting out now while the door is still ajar. You might not have the millions to buy a golden passport, but you have the ability to buy the common man's passport, physical silver. It is the only asset that allows you to carry your wealth across borders and outside the electronic dragnet of a desperate state. We are standing on the precipice of the greatest wealth transfer in human history. The shift from trusting the full faith and credit of a bankrupt government to trusting the atomic weight of precious metals is a psychological snap that happens all at once. It's like a dam breaking. 1 minute everything is calm, and the next, the valley is underwater. The Venezuela raid was the sound of the first crack in that dam. The empire is liquidating itself, and it is doing so by force. You have to decide right now if you're going to be on the side that gets liquidated or the side that holds the liquid. The window to acquire physical silver at these suppressed paper prices is closing. Once the Department of Defense declares silver a critical strategic mineral and nationalizes the supply chain, the buy button will vanish for the public. At $80 an ounce, silver isn't expensive, it's a gift. It's a lifeboat on a sinking ship that hasn't quite tilted vertical yet. Do not wait for the water to reach your feet. Get out of the paper. Get into the metal. I'll see you on the other side.